difficult to tell exactly what he's going to do. Like, if you see a Spire, it is an option of either actually going for Spire or not. But if he sees a pool first, then he might go ahead and automatically scout for a hatchery. You know, a proxy hatch. And that could be the big differences. Is that ShoWTime might actually always scout. Because I'm pretty sure if Neeb had scouted that Death Aura game, if he had seen the drones being pulled, it would have been like a no-brainer on the defense almost. I mean, not a no-brainer, but with a Zealot out, it would have been a very big difference. Anyways. Final best of 5 of the nights. Who takes the ESL Pro Tour European Open Cup number 38 finals? And all the money and points that go with it. In the bottom right, we have the blue Zerg going for a 14 pool. He is Bly. In the bottom left, going for very early scouts and also pro block on the gold, we have the red Protoss ShoWTime. So the 14 pool comes down. I believe he did this versus Neeb and still got the gold base up as well. But it looks like he has changed his mind. With ShoWTime blocking out his potential hatchery, he goes, well, fuck you too. And now it blocks out ShoWTime's potential nexus and obviously the wall. So in response, ShoWTime grabs another pylon, grabs his 7X core, and grabs a Zealot. Now you can see his wall is going to be looking very, very wonky. It's going to be very vulnerable to Ling attacks, I guess. You know, like it's going to have just a lot of surface area for the Lings, but I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the problem. The problem is always scouting when it comes to Bly. If you know the Ling attack is on the way, you can work with it, but if you don't, you can't work with it. So, one Zealot, not going to go for the second one. Waiting for the 7X core and then going into the Adept. Bly is going to cancel the hatchery to let his Lings through. Although there is, again, that kind of question of like, well, he could wait for the Broodlings, but is 300 minerals really going to be worth that? Apparently. Nope. So, saves 75 minerals. Sorry, saves 225 and costs 75 minerals. The second time I've done that. Anyways. But I don't think it really disturbed ShoWTime a whole lot. Right now, the worst thing to come out of it is that he's a little bit supply blocked, but actually he's not. He already has his production underway, so he's not even supply blocked. So, yeah. I guess you could argue that, like, half a second he couldn't put a probe supply block, but... Anyways, Stargate's gonna come down as that is the safest option against someone who is going for an early aggression. You know, if you know it's a proxy hatchery and it's gonna use it for a spine crawler or roaches, then a robo might be a better option. But if it's a question mark, what are they expanding with? What are they ling busting, roach busting, queen busting? Then the Stargate's gonna be your best option because it can scout, harass, and also help you defend. It can do all of those things pretty well. While also leading into a smoother mid-game than a robo would. And then a safe, nice little 2 gateways in addition to fully wall off. 2 adepts gonna shade over. This probe's done an excellent job. It scouted, it delayed the hatchery, and I think it also got another scout and saw still no third hatch here or into the upper rights. So very nicely done. And the adepts are gonna try and scout into the main base to see if gas is being used on anything. Speed, roaches, or lair. I'm actually going to split his adepts, which is actually pretty cool. Because it is very possible something could be stuck back here. Creep tumor is going to be denied, which is actually pretty nice. The adepts get far enough in to see that there's a lair on the way, and... well, pretty much 2 options for a lair this fast, right? A very quick Spire or a very quick Nidus Worm. If you see a Roach Warren, assume Nidus Worm. If you don't see a Roach Warren, it's a little bit more in question. It could be a very fast Spire. So right now, I'm thinking that the better guess is always going to be a Roach Nidus. Unless you're, you know, TvZ might be different. You might think more 2-base Spire if it's a TvZ, but yeah, PvZ, I think you're just thinking Roach Nidus. No Nidus yet, though. Bunch of adepts moving across the map, so no resident glaives, but just warping in consistently from the 3 gateways, and there is not much to defend. With the lair, he saw, you know, obviously resources dedicated to that, which would not be into an army. And then he saw no roach warren, so even if it was around, it's going to take some time to build roaches, which is exactly the case that's happening here. Roach is only about halfway done, so lots of lost mining time. And the roaches, of course, are going to be revealed, but what these adepts also see, they don't see any Nidus worm. So, assuming that most of the adepts survive, which they will, 2 of them go down, that means that ShoWTime doesn't really have to worry about being attacked. Actually, he shades back into the main. A little bit of a bold choice. I mean, it is still kind of concerning that the roaches come across the map, or that you miss the Nidus worm somewhere, but he uses the adepts to get 10 more drone kills, delay the natural, get a scout on the roaches and queens. And, well, we know without a Nidus worm that ShoWTime really does not have to be worried. At worst case scenario, he'll pump out an Immortal and a Warp Prism will juggle that to death. But that is still kind of scary. I mean, no shield battery here. Roaches are on the way over. Warp Prism's not staying at home. ShoWTime shouldn't be too fancy about this. Don't be too fancy. Don't be a hero. Now a shield battery's on the way as his Oracle scouts the roaches. They scouted the roaches with the Revelation up till here, I think, is what happened. But yeah, see the roaches turn around. Overlord sees the Warp Prism, which might have been one of the reasons the roaches turned around. Yeah, ShoWTime didn't even need a shield battery, so, well, there you go. I don't think Bly has a chance anymore. His Nidus worm was so late, and it's really missed the opportunity. There was, at one point, you know, ShoWTime did not have much of an army. He threw away all of his adepts for the trade out and the drones, and that's the scariest point, because imagine a Nidus worm was popping up when that happened, when the adepts were cleaned up. Like, that's really scary. But, you know, a minute and a half later, you're talking 2 Immortals and a handful of other units, a Voidry that could have come back home and helped out. But it's going to die instead, so okay. Nidus worm in the main is seen, which is the more important. Most of the army respawns there. I say most of the army. I don't see the Immortals. It's a little bit awkward. Not a big deal if ShoWTime has to cancel his Nexus. Nidus worm more aggressively placed. So ShoWTime could just wait for more Immortals and blink him +1, and then he could jump on top of whatever army Bly has to throw at him. And I think that's what he's gonna wait for. Oracle being shooed away by the queens, but that sees that there is a lot more to come from the Nidus worm. Maybe it's pretty dedicated. Looks like ShoWTime has warped in a couple of adepts with a proxy pylon. Not usually seen in this matchup, but I actually really like that. Like a why not? That's going to see still a lacking third hatch and know just how dedicated this is for the Zerg. So I think with Blinken +1, he's probably okay to take an engagement, but maybe don't chance it if you don't have to, right? And Nidus worm to the south doesn't have anything in it, so good response there. And Overload will be cleared up too. Drones dying to the adepts that are warped in, as Bly is forced to retreat with some of the roaches or redirect some of the roach reinforcements. 4 drones being a pretty big deal, as Bly is only on 2 bases, 37 workers. And ShoWTime doesn't even really micro those anymore as he's clearing up everything else. He's mined out the back to take the 3rd base in a very safe location. 5 drones in total went down. And we're just waiting for ShoWTime to move out. Maybe that could have been an opportunity, because right now the most awkward thing for ShoWTime is that he'd be going down his own choke. If he can actually escape and get to a decent concave, he will take the fight. His army is superior, as is, but also with a +1 upgrade. Again, doesn't have to save his 3rd Nexus here. He feels like he can't, but I think he feels like he can. Blinks aggressively on top of a bunch of Ravagers that have very little protecting it. Corrosive Biles don't hit very much, and the rest of the army comes down. Sentries, Force Fields, Immortals, another aggressive blink forward. GG. ShoWTime not taking any of Bly's shit. started things off with a probe scout and a hatch block as well. And I think that actually did a decent amount to screw Bly up. Death Aura for the second game. I don't think Bly does his early hatch drone pool. I don't think he does. But I kind of want him to. Bly usually takes a little while. He has other things to do in between games. Maybe he changes houses every game. Bly has multiple houses. He's living the good life over in Ukraine. Well, as good as you can, I suppose. Wow, what the fuck was that? I don't know if you guys can hear my cat going crazy, but I think there's a bird outside. So he's doing the all... It's pretty cute. Alright, Bly. Show us the drone pool. I just kind of want you to do it. I just kind of want it. Oh, no drone being made. It might happen. In the bottom right, going for a 12 pull, he is Bly on fire. In the top left, it is ShoWTime. And he is already sending out a probe. He's sending out 2 probes. Okay, I was like, he's gonna cannon rush? What? Nah, he is sending out a very fast probe to get a block, as well as, of course, the fastest scout you reasonably can. Which is going to show him a very early pool with no hatchery. He's going to miss the drone being sent out, but if he did get to catch the last couple of games of Neeb versus Bly, he would have seen this one. He would have caught the first 2 games because he was playing against Hero Marine, but his series was faster. So, yeah, I think he knows. If he sees a hatch block go down here, he's going to take it very seriously, that's for sure, but... Even if he couldn't tell 100% that a drone pool was going to happen with it, you kind of still would respond the same way. The difference would be as soon as you saw the drones, and we're like, oh, it's a drone pool, you would pull your own probes. I think would be the key difference. Like, all of your probes. If it is just this, with the lings to get through, then you just make the zealot. What he did in the last game. But he's actually getting ahead of... Oh! Not quite. I thought he was going to get ahead of it and not let the hatchery go down, but... Try to save his probe, and was a little too late with the second one. But still, with a chrono on the zealots, I'm really not that worried. It's not going to be a drone pool, by the way. He just links him across the map, but I mean, it just messes up ShoWTime's build. But I mean, not even by that much. I'm actually not sure that's a wall. Is the zealot chonky enough to fit there? It might not matter. I don't think it matters. Gonna build another wall back here. It would still suck to lose his gateway, which I think is what Bly is kind of just going like, you know what, whatever, I'll grab the gateway. If that's... No, he has a zealot here, doesn't he? No. No, he's fine. No, he's fine. He's fine. Well, maybe he's second guessing too. Oh, and now the hatchery's no longer blocking. So. Alrighty then. Yeah, just another pylon there would do it. So this, pretty good hold so far. With the shield battery done, it gets really easy. Shield battery does not reach this pylon is the only concern, but with a stalker now out, and I'm surprised he went for a stalker, by the way. Oh, what the fuck? Oh my god, I'm gonna go ahead and hit right here, right now. Guys, I did not see that other hatchery. What the fuck is happening? I saw the hatchery being taken there and just assumed everything was Gucci, but actually he didn't get the hatchery until just now back at home and went for this hatchery instead. Because of course he did. I'm such a fool. So that might explain the stalker. But he does actually get an adept afterwards. I think the adept might ultimately want to go across the map. The zealots and the stalker can handle things over here, but she'll help out where she can. More forwardly placed shield battery. ShoWTime is still going to be able to grab a Nexus, though. She does now. Still feels pretty good. It feels pretty good for the Protoss. That is about 1 billion Zerglings, though, so there's that. It's one zealot, but the queen will pop out, place down some nasty creep tumors. But hatchery will fall. So that is 11 lings, a queen, and that's it. Actually, that's it. That's it. That's all in the front lines. Building 2 more queens at home. ShoWTime is going to add on a Stargate again, just a very flexible option when you are in these weird games. And now ShoWTime should be able to send his adepts across the map. Oh, we even get to that live feature. Really nicely done. Should be able to take the engagement. Loses a single zealot. Is going to try and head into the natural, but the adepts are going to try and take care of things. And they will. I mean, the Lynx can't really do very much. They're going to get a scout on a Stargate, but that's, you know, yeah. In the same way that I advise Protoss to get a Stargate in these situations, I think Lai knows what Protoss should be getting in this situation. So. Adepts now going to go across the map while the rest of the units clean up the Lings. And then the Oracle can maybe even help with the Adepts. ShoWTime might wait with the Adepts since they took so long to get here. Yeah. So what is Bly's plan now? Yeah, he once again emphasizes the queens, which I think is just very interesting. I mean, you either have a queen or a spore crawler. I guess you'd rather have a queen. But queens don't kill things very fast, so the adept still grabs 6 drones, and 2 of them escape. Oracle is going to try and head into the main base, but the queens are on top of it. If it had come from maybe more of like a right, you know, right over here, maybe it could have grabbed 3 or 4 more drones, but it is what it is. Their Nexus gets plopped down in Vision of an Overlord, so Bly's going to have to deal with that somehow? I don't know. These slow Lings aren't going to deal with it, that's for sure. I don't know. I do not know. Oh, there was an other active pre-tumor? I missed that one. I mean, that's a little bit annoying. He could use a revelation to clear that up, so it's not a super big deal. He's like, do I want to? Do I? I think that's what he's gonna do. Adepts get back into the main. At this point, just scouting. With speed done, they can't really get many drones anymore. But seeing no lair puts ShoWTime into a pretty comfortable position, because at this point, if there are about to be Lings made, he would have enough production to handle it. I don't think he'd be too concerned about that. Oracles did not go back to clear up the creep, but I don't think the creep's really going to matter. Maybe looking to get a stasis trap at the 3rd, or get a drone transfer. Just try and head into the natural, which 2 queens and a spore crawler are kind of ready. Not gonna be worth it. Ooh, jeez. We'll go up to 3 drones. And then lose the Oracle. I don't know if that was really worth it, but I don't think it matters. ShoWTime has been up in workers this entire time on a faster third than his Zerg opponents. And you can see, oh my good lord, that is actually an extreme income difference. Woof. Woof. That's a lot. That's a wealthy Protoss right there. And is Bly even on a lair? I don't even know what Bly's plan is. I don't even... ShoWTime is so insanely far ahead. And Bly's not even trying to do anything tricky like a Nidus Storm or a Spire. I think without the momentum of the early game going in Bly's favor, he just actually kind of just like stops computing. I don't know, this isn't... The one thing you'd say about Bly is that he usually has a plan. It's kind of like a last minute kind of wonky plan. And he might change his plan very quickly without any notice whatsoever, but he usually has a plan. This felt like a game where he was like, I don't know what I do. Of course, his opening did not work out much at all, so just as is, he was in a bad position, not arguing that, but usually he has something a little bit trickier following up a bad situation. And this game just wasn't tricky at all. ShoWTime gonna go for a pretty much easy A move, charge that +1 attack. Couple of Lings get into the third, but that is a very easy cleanup. I think ShoWTime maybe just wants a couple of Archons. Then he's gonna go for it. He does start up +2. He starts up his 4th base as if this game's actually gonna go on for much longer, but ShoWTime is currently 20 supply above his opponents with a far superior army and +1 upgrades, so... Yeah, I'd say this is pretty close to an A move situation. I'd say so. Just A move. Up a ramp, I don't care. I think that works. I think I'll be fine. A couple force fields are gonna devastate the army. And actually splits, maybe anticipating painlings? Drone's already dying on the bottom left. There we go. GG. All right, so the shenanigans are not throwing off ShoWTime whatsoever, which is a problem. They're supposed to at least make the Protoss second guess themselves and miss SimCity so that Lings get in later or something like that, right? And it's just not working. You're giving us spoilers. 1, the game was already over. It just hasn't actually left the in-game screen yet. You know what I'm saying? 2, I actually was typing during the game. Is it easier to type outside of the game when I'm not casting? Yes, it is. Do I type while I'm casting in a game? Yes, I do. Just get your panties untwisted. Potentially the last game here on Everdream. In the bottom left is the blue Protoss. He is ShoWTime. In the top right is the red Zerg. He is Raise Your Edges, Blah. No early pool this time. Just kidding. He's gonna early pool. Wait, is he? He actually got an overlord, though. So a 16 pool is still an early pool. But it's not a 14, it's not a 12, so... Okay, so slightly different. Right? No. What? What is this drone for, then? I thought it was going to be a normal game because it's on Overlord, and then I was like, well, the drone left, so is it? Ah, yes, Everdream does have a rich Vespian gas geyser. Alright, things make sense again. So a hatch first, but on the purple gas. This probe is going to see no pool, and while the initial instinct might be on a different map to scout around, ShoWTime's probably pretty used to this and Bly's antics, so he actually scouts directly for the purple base. I think he was able to see it from there. Yep, it was. Clever. So now that's understood, ShoWTime might be tempted to change up his build to deal with it, and it actually wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe do like a Twilight Council, a Death Open or something like that. It would be a terrible idea at all, because you still are given the time to do something normal. This is a normal game, build order-wise, it's just the placing of the buildings are a bit different. So you could do a normal Resident Enclaves opener, because you think it could work out with the amount of distance between reinforcements and creep to your third base, but on the other hand, you don't necessarily want to play into Bly's hands. It's in some ways kind of like when you see someone not wall off in a PvP, you might think, oh, what an idiot, I'll go for adepts. When actually, for a time there, a lot of NA pros were actually intentionally doing that to kind of bait you into making adepts and not taking any damage because they'll just put the units in the proper position. But anyways, so it can, like... It can be kind of scary to change up your ideas. That said, on Everdream, Twilight Council Resident Enclaves, pretty popular thing to do in the first place. ShoWTime, maybe just sticking with the initial plan. Thinking, okay, now it's even going to be more effective since you've gone for the third hatch. Sorry, the natural back at the rich Vespian, so he's going to go for it. The gases being only somewhat mined. This is going to be the Resident Enclaves. The Overlord could also kind of tell that, and would want to stick around back here to see if it's a Dark Shrine follow-up. Some Adepts already starting things off. Nope, actually go ahead and save the probe. This probe has been a hero, so they should save it. Speed is about to... Wait, why is there a second Overlord? Wait, what? Was that misrally? Well, I don't think it's gonna die, but... Maybe it was trying to scout for something that's put over here? Oh, it is gonna die. Oh no, it absolutely is. Oh no. Well, that was a straight up mistake from Bly, who is now supply blocked. He's supply blocked, am I right, guys? A couple of Lings came forward. I mean, it is Everdream, so... notorious for having not actual walls. This is an actual wall. The soccer kind of cements it, in fact. And the rest of the Warpins can go on Adepts, with Resident Enclaves on the way. There it is. This is going to be... I mean, it's always complicated to defend, and it looks like we're going to have the Disruptor follow-up. So, as far as I know, and according to Gemini, this is actually a trap build that he did back at IEM Katowice, I think. He did also do it once against Cyril, I think, in the Grand Finals, or maybe it was against Raynor. No, he did it against Raynor in the semifinals of last season, but didn't do it in the Grand Finals this season. But yeah, you follow up with the Disruptors, and it takes advantage of those slow roaches that they're usually depending on to kill the Adepts. Usually. The idea for the Adept defense is typically a decent amount of Lings to hold the Adepts in place, and then you fill with roaches afterwards, and around 40 workers. Bly actually made a lot more Lings. So that's where the Disruptors can sometimes have a difficult time microing against, but we'll see what happens. Point is, you do have to build both of those units and a decent amount of them against the Adepts. You gotta take this seriously, even if the actual Adepts don't shade in. ShoWTime has actually made quite a few, though, so I think taking this ultimately very, very seriously is the right call. But we know that while the adept numbers look scary, they're intimidating, they could shade in 2 different directions, and that could be quite scary. They're probably going to try and help out these disruptors a little bit more. They're going to try and distract and pull apart and leave openings for the disruptor to get really big shots. The War Prism is seen by plenty of overlords. It's going to go back eventually to pick up these 2 disruptors, but not quite yet. Lots of Ling Roach actually heading across the map, but that's the other thing about the disruptor, right? The disruptor could eventually be used to attack roaches that are being used defensively. Well, it's also fantastic at dealing with them defensively for the Protoss. One disruptor getting a handful of roaches isn't too shabby to start things off, but there is only a second one, which only grabs 2 roaches. Good split by Bly. But ShoWTime saved up his adepts, so it's not like his army supply is really that bad. A canceled 3rd Nexus wouldn't be the worst thing, but he does have to cancel it. There it is. Bly only now going back into building drones after building 9 more roaches and only now adding on a lair. So ultimately, ShoWTime is still feeling pretty good about this game. He's got a lot of flexibility with the Warp Prism with speed. Could be Adept, could be Charge Lots in the future, could be Disruptors, which it is right now. And he's going to be adding on Colossus and Blink as the game continues. So this many Adepts doesn't really have to worry about Ling run by. He's going to try and grab some drones. Only 4. Good splits again from Bly. But there's not much to actually really take care of the Warp Prism. There's no direct counter for this. So Disruptors are always going to be threatening these drone lines. Oh! Fairly big shots. Taking some hull damage on the Disruptor, so needs to be careful about that. But the longer the game goes, the longer the Disruptors being alive is not, like, the most important thing in the world. We're going to fill with Stalkers, we're going to fill with Colossus. Disruptors, you know, you don't ever want to just give them away, that's for sure. They're still pretty useful, but they're not going to be your main composition for a while. Tried to get the shot, but a little bit too risky. Now both Disruptors are quite weak. I think far more importantly, ShoWTime is getting up to a 3rd Nexus with still more workers than his opponent until literally just this second. But if ShoWTime's on 3 bases, then Bly does want to grab his 4th, which finally comes down now. Only just getting Roach speed as well. Double hallucination. He really wants to know if there's a Spire. He's like, hell no, I'm not losing to a Spire. And Disruptors are going to grab 7 more drone kills, so I think in total that's like 15, right? 17. I don't think the Adepts got very much done. Oh no, the Adepts killed a couple, actually. There's like a couple that shaded in. But anyways. So far, Disruptors, considering that they're all alive, doing a very good job tackling the economy of the Zerg. Creep spread's getting a little bit scary. The Observer's about to see that, but not as big of a deal in this matchup. ShoWTime almost completely saturated on his 3 bases with some nice sturdy shield batteries. Starting to build up the Stalker count, which actually has taken a while. He's been building up other things, more expensive things, I guess, and then now is adding on the Stalkers. And he still has all those original Adepts, so still mostly an Adept-based army, but it'll transition eventually. Disruptor's going to lead the charge. Maybe we could have saved one of those Disruptors for the Banelings. I think he has 3 in total, though, so yeah. He's still got 1 for potential Banelings. Centrifugal Hooks is not done, but will finish before the engagement. Oh, it's gonna finish. It's gonna finish. It's gonna finish. It's gonna finish. Alright, Centrifugal Hooks is done. With 2 Colossus, they're also going to help laser beam down those Banelings. Now, Banelings are actually light units, so it takes quite a few Colossus shots to do so, but they'll help alongside those beautiful force fields coming down. Big part of this composition is good force fields, so if you're stuck with force fields, I don't know if you want to do this. 1 pretty good Disruptor shot, 2nd one not so much. I think there is still a 3rd one in the chamber, so Bly has to be very careful. I mean, for the Disruptors, but also just the might of this army. The Stalker count has truly grown as it moved across the map. Force fields are still plentiful, and this tiny little run by here didn't really do a whole lot, or anything at all. I do believe ShoWTime's going to 3-0, but I can't underestimate, you know, the Neve kind of showing ShoWTime a lot of Bly's tricks, you know? Like, ShoWTime, perhaps the better player overall when it comes to defending against antics, better than Neve, but I do think that having seen Neeb lose out to Blythe give him a little bit more of a heads up to get the complete 3-0 against the Zerg, so. If there was a speech after this, I think you'd have to kind of shout out Neeb a little bit. I think the numbers are a little bit too great. ShoWTime once again just in that A-move territory. Even against Banelings, which you usually do not want to make A-move against. I think he could. He'd still be fine. ShoWTime is almost tripling the army supply. Not many force fields left over, so Banelings do crash in. But oh, ending with some fireworks on the disruptors that blink forward. And that is it. ShoWTime takes another victory here in the EPT Open Cups. So, I don't know, I want to say it's like 8th or something? Something like that. Not nearly as many as here, Marine, but ShoWTime.